Liberation Ventures is like a bit over 5 years old right now. What phase of career or of Liberation Ventures or as a CEO are you in right now?
Ooh, good question. So similar to you, I feel really happy because I feel like I'm always learning. I think that there was a certain set of skills I needed to get LV from 0 to 5. And now there's a different set of skills that I need to get LV from 5 to 10.
Which I'm going to ask you what those are.
Totally. And just the whole environment has changed so much from when we were born and now. So I'm very happy. And I feel like I will be at LV until either I'm not happy or until it's really clear that LV needs a different leader for whatever reason. And I want to get LV to the point where I could step aside at any moment. Like, I feel like that is good leadership, is like succession planning and institution building and making sure that it doesn't depend on me.
Which doesn't mean that you all have solved the problem or achieved your ultimate goal, but just that it's in a place where
someone else to pick it up, and take it further than I could, and that would be a massive sign of success to me. You know, I do want to start a family sometime in the next few years, so that we'll see we'll see how all these thoughts change after that or during that. But I don't know. I feel pretty grateful to be able to get up every day and do something that feels really important to the world and also like in the dead center of my purpose.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm thinking on the walk over here, we were talking about how challenging in many ways fundraising has been, which I know just burns out so many leaders and creates so much anxiety. It also makes it hard to be optimistic or feel good in the work or about the future of it. And I haven't gotten that sense from you in this conversation.
Yeah.
Is that accurate or?
That's a good question. I like fundraising. And I think the reason why is because I like talking about the work. I like talking about race, really. And I like talking about repair.
Yeah.
And so that's most of what fundraising is, at least the way I fundraise, is just like me being myself, talking about why I believe the work is important, what we're up to. And of course, it's also just building relationships with people. And I enjoy that too. I think sometimes it feels like a little bit of like a puzzle in a good way, in the sense that like when I meet potential funders, I want to understand them and I want to understand what they're into. And I'm kind of trying to figure out, like, do they have a puzzle piece that fits with our puzzle pieces? I guess I just try to remember that that's what fundraising is at its best. It's like both funder and grantee bringing their best assets to the problem and being partners in trying to solve that problem. I do feel there are times where I feel down though. There are times where I feel like I meet with funders and I'm like, either they are so skeptical of the issue, or they think I'm naive, or they think I'm crazy. And I do feel small after those meetings. Like, I have meetings where I feel small and I go home and I vent to my partner and I have to like work on building myself back up again. But that's all right. I guess it just comes with the territory, and I have to believe that like one day they will see.
Yeah. And if you didn't believe that, why would you be doing this work?
Yeah.
I'm curious, how do you both talk about and think about the movement for Black reparations in this particular moment right now?
Yeah.
And if I don't forget this, I want to connect that to how do you think about what that means for what your leadership needs to be for the next, for LV 5 to 10 years,
Right now, I think what is clear to so many people is there is so much harm being caused. It started in the beginning with USAID and all of the, I don't have to name all of the things. And depending on, like, no matter what happens in 2028, I think we will be at some point in a position where as a country, we need repair. Like, we are in a harmful era. We will need a reparative era to come after. We will need to know how to do that. We'll need like the infrastructure and the organizations and the learnings and the insights for how you do that, in particular at the societal and structural level, but also at the institutional level. And I think we also need to be better at repair, like in our interpersonal worlds, like in our relationships with our children, like with our coworkers. So yeah, I think more and more at LV, we're thinking about repair, not only at the macro level, but also at the micro level, and how actually building our muscles at the micro level will help us be better at doing it at the macro levels. And I think the reason why we're not so good at doing repair in the US, at least, is because we've never done it. We haven't repaired the harms of slavery and its legacies. And as a result, those cycles of harm have perpetuated. And so that's, to me, like how I orient us right now. And I don't know, that question about 5 to 10 is an interesting one.
Not assuming that you have it all figured out or anything.
Yeah, totally. I mean, something that we've believed from the beginning is that repairing the harms of slavery and its legacies helps everybody. It hurts everyone that we haven't done that. And that actually, like, anytime you have a heterogeneous society, a multiracial democracy, you'll have breakdown, you'll have conflict. And therefore, the strength of that democracy depends on your ability to repair and the system's proclivity to and will to and skill to repair. Also, sometimes I get like questions from funders that's like, why aren't you an all Black team? And my
do they mean that genuinely, or as a sort
honestly,
of like gotcha?
No, I think that it's like a real question for some people. And I understand the question because I believe that Black folks need to be in the driver's seat of this work. But my snarky response is like, Black folks didn't create this problem. So why should we be all on our own to solve it?
And in a democracy, I mean, you'll need a multi-racial coalition to actually make anything possible.
Because that's the point of this work, too, is to build a true, just, multiracial democracy that can repair anytime harm is caused, whether it is being caused to Black communities or not. And I think we're seeing that now with ICE and others. Like there's so much need for repair, not only in Black communities. We have a very collective approach to this work. And sometimes that is hard. Like leading an organization where a lot of people think that you should be all Black, holding my ground on that perspective has been an interesting thing to do. And I think more and more for us to grow, we need to be bringing in even more multiracial coalition at every level. And so I want to see that happen. There's a lot more I could probably say about the 5 to 10, but I also feel like I'm like, I don't know yet. Like I'm still learning.
And you need to just be in it, you know, for the next 5 to 10. Also, I appreciate you saying repair over and over again, because I'll admit it's not a word that I use often in my own vocabulary in general, or about, say, like what needs to happen. And I feel like it actually resonates. And I think this is a moment where even if like people aren't aligned on the vision or the problem, there is this feeling that things are broken and that repair needs to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like I don't see enough folks in the democracy space thinking and talking about repair. I think that one critical component of a thriving democracy, because when you can repair, sometimes it's hard to think about in the abstract. If you like bring it back down to like, just imagine you and your partner, like your spouse, you, when you get into a fight, if you can't repair, you are remaining disconnected. You are probably eroding trust between the two of you. And repairing doesn't just mean, or like you can't move on by just changing how you act, but not acknowledging the thing that happened. And it's a lot easier to imagine why that's hard in the context of like, God, my spouse did this thing and didn't apologize and never acknowledged it. And it was so frustrating, you know? And that's like, when you then like scale that up to macro, it's like, oh, that's why we need to acknowledge. But anyway, I think repair is critical to trust. And we know how important trust in institutions is in democracies. So, yeah.
I hear you draw a lot of connection between the repair that needs to happen at a civilizational and societal level with the repair that happens interpersonally and in sort of like micro level relationships. And I'm curious, have you always sort of felt that way, and it informed how you thought about the design, the purpose of Liberation Ventures, or did you sort of like pick that up along the way?
That's a good question. It's been there since the start. When we started, we actually wanted to develop a more detailed definition of repair, because repair is kind of this abstract concept that if you don't break it down into its parts,
Mhm.
it's hard to operationalize.
Mhm.
And so one of our first orienting questions was like, what is repair?
Yeah.
And we went to a lot of the psychology research to try to understand, like, what does it mean to repair?
Mhm.
We also looked at research in many other disciplines too, but we drew from the therapists and the clinicians.
Yeah.
And that helped us define our repair framework, which is reckoning, acknowledgement, accountability, and redress. Those 4 pieces are how we define what full comprehensive repair looks like in an iterative cycle. You have to keep doing all of them. And right now I'm very excited. We have a partnership with a company called Therapy Notebooks.
Okay.
They create mental health tools, like evidence-based mental health tools in the form of journals. They're self-guided tools that clinicians can basically like almost like prescribe, not quite prescribe, but you can buy them.
Yeah.
We're working on one in partnership with them on repair. So it will be evidence-based, co-authored by myself and a couple of clinicians.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited because it's basically gonna give us like the grounding in what repair can really mean in an interpersonal context. And then what I hope is that we'll be able to sort of like extrapolate up to the macro level. Well, okay, if there's this one thing that really works in an interpersonal context, what does a policy look like that is like similar or mirroring that? That's actually the stuff that I'm most excited about right now.
But you also just said something that just sparked some reflection for me when I think about, like, my career and work has started in education, and I still feel like an educator in many ways.
Yeah.
I'd say, like, it started with the study and design of learning spaces for young people, and now it's evolved to thinking about how do adults and systems learn.
That's awesome.
And part of it started, I was like, like in college, I didn't know what I wanted to major in, didn't know what I wanted to do. And I remember my dad and everybody else saying, you got to be computer science, got to be an engineer. That's the path to liberation for poor Black and brown people.
Yeah.
Tried it, hated staring at code for 10 hours a day and everything. And so I said, okay, what have I really felt like I enjoyed myself? And it was always in school and in classrooms and in learning spaces. And just felt like the way that we do school and the way that we learn shapes who we are and the people that we become. And so if we want a society where people care about one another, care about the environment, ask really critical questions about the world that we live in, and develop the will to change or do something about it, you have to practice that on a regular basis. It doesn't just come naturally. And schools can be a place for that.
Totally.
But that sense of like practicing and building the muscle, like on a micro level, to be able to create the world that you want to see at a macro level.
Yes.
Sounds very much what you were saying about, repair starting at home and within first.
Completely. If you had to design an intervention that was supporting young people to learn how to repair, what would you do? Or just like what comes to mind when you think about that?
I think the first thing is like maybe it's a principle or design approach, which is to take grades and evaluation out of the equation. This is not something that you are doing to prove that you're able to compete in the race of life and towards success.
Like checking the box.
Because that just doesn't feel good, and it kills the kind of intrinsic motivation young people and people really have to do just about like anything. And I think in many ways it starts with acknowledging the ways that young people, particularly young kids, actually find ways to repair things all the time. In the sense that, like I used to be an elementary school educator, and the way the kids can go from, you're my best friend in the whole world to never talk to me to they're back holding hands and playing again. Like it happens all of the time. You know?
We teach our kids to say sorry when they do something on the playground or whatever. And like somehow we just stop expecting that of adults and of our leaders.
I remember taking a psych course, and I think the thing was broadly about cognitive dissonance in the way that like our minds rationalize when there's this discrepancy between saying what we think and what we do. And it was saying like, if you dislike someone or someone really gets on your nerves, the best thing to do is actually do a favor for them. Because then your brain is like, wait, why am I doing this favor or something nice for someone that I don't really like? Maybe I don't dislike them as much as I think, And so when I think about design and repair for young people, there's something that involves some kind of community service,
Mhm.
with each other and on
Mhm.
behalf of something that they all can benefit from.
Mhm. I
And that makes
also
it fun,
Yeah. I also hear you saying, like, it's not just theoretical or conceptual,
Mhm.
it's, like, active.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Now I'm thinking about like how do we make repair more of a normal practice in school? And so
Yeah.
so
I
then it's
mean,
like become older and like that's not a new thing. It's actually part of the foundational education you
right.
have,
And it's just common sense. Overall, LV's goal is to build a culture of repair.
Yeah.
And I think these are the kinds of things I'm thinking a lot about is
Mhm.
like, how do we normalize the idea that is actually quite
Mhm.
clear when you think
Mhm.
about it from sort of a moral perspective, just like when you cause harm, you
Mhm.
make amends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not a measurement question, but how would you know if we have a culture of repair? And whether that's at the micro level, at the macro level, just, I know that you
Yeah.
think about this as you are
Yeah.
working to help build a field that in service of creating a culture and practice and a society of repair.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know if like
It's a great
we're
question.
sort of like in it?
Yeah. I think, first of all, we would see our leaders, public, social, and private sector leaders, role modeling
Mhm.
repair. And not just leaders. I mean, we would see everyone role modeling repair.
Yeah.
Teachers, parents. We would see repair being taught, like
Mhm.
the capacity to repair being
Mhm.
built in schools, like you're talking about, but even like in workplaces too.
Mhm.
I'm not exactly sure what the KPI is on this, but we
Which I
would
said is not a
like,
measurement question. So
yeah, exactly. We would understand why repair benefits us all
Mhm.
too. We would stop believing that denial
Mhm.
or blame or
Mhm.
punishment is the way, especially when we're the ones that cause harm.
Mhm.
We would see how, like, acknowledging that,
Mhm.
taking accountability for that, redressing that makes us feel more whole and
Mhm.
more in integrity and alignment with ourselves.
Mhm.
And we would feel the feeling of living in that
Yeah.
wholeness and therefore realize that that's something. And Russell Medicam has this idea of like clean pain versus dirty pain.
Mhm.
Dirty pain being the denial, the projection, the like pushing away,
Mhm.
versus clean pain being like, I'm going to face the shame
Yeah.
that I feel and I'm going to process through it.
Mhm.
I think that is what's on the other side for us. Like that's
Mhm.
what is that's what a culture of repair,
Yeah.
that's what comprehensive reparations would bring to
Mhm.
our society. People always ask me, what gives you hope? I kind of hate the question.
I'm glad I did ask it. Not
Well,
that I was going to, not that it was sitting there on my mind.
I guess I just feel like
Yeah, tell me why you hate it.
hope. I don't enter this work
Mhm.
from like a hope first, like I must have hope in order to do this work
Yeah.
perspective. And I think the reason why is I feel a little bit more practical in the sense that like, okay, if we do this work,
Mhm.
then the change that we are seeking might
Mhm.
happen
Yeah.
because we're working on it.
Yeah.
If we don't do this work, it is much less likely to happen.
Yeah.
So like, let's do it. Let's try.
Yeah.
And I try to do it with a lot of joy. And I think like what I do enter this work
Mhm.
with, or I try to at least, is like courage
Mhm.
and integrity, because doing it is what makes me feel most integrity with myself.
Yeah.
Or in most integrity with myself. And so I don't know. I don't need the hope in the beginning.
Mhm.
I do feel that when I take action, then the hope comes. And it's
Yeah.
like Miriam Kaba's like, hope is a discipline. I feel always like an asshole when I answer that question. There are so many things that could give hope. Like
Yeah.
Minneapolis is like an amazing source
Yeah.
of hope. History is an amazing source of hope.
Yeah.
But to me, hope is just like not quite the reason why I'm here.
And thank you for this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, we've
Thanks
had a
for
few
having me.
conversations like an interview or prepping for something, and so it's nice to just talk.
Talk.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah.
Thanks.